to the Breakthrough Festival for 2021. Woo! So we are celebrating the Life Coach University turning 1. If you are new to the Life Coach University, let me just tell you a little bit about it. But first, now that you're all coming on, I better introduce myself. So my name is Meaghan J Smith. I'm a money mindset and life coach for women. I host the Money Mindful podcast, and I'm also one of the regular contributors and coach instructor for the Life Coach University. So the Life Coach University is a pay it forward platform. It is a place where anyone from all over the world can go and join in on a workshop or a live coaching event run by our amazing pay it forward coaches from all over the globe. We have coaches from the US, Canada, Asia, Australia, Europe. So we're pretty global. I don't think we have anyone from the continent Africa, but we might need to change that. Maybe somebody's listening now. Okay, so let me just check in. What have I got to tell you before we get started? So tonight we have 6 coaches joining us to give you all their wisdom about how to have your own breakthroughs. We have Anna Wallner first up. We have, I've just lost my train of thought. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm so sorry. We've got Kelly and Yuta from Europe as well. We have Heather and Alana and Tonya joining us from the USA and Canada. And some of you might have seen an amazing teaser that came out by Chris Weals, which we released this week to give you a little bit of a taste of the coaches, the PIF coaches. So that's pay it forward coaches. All right. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. Guys, I'm just going to have a little look at the comments. All right. Okay. I'm not going to do that because that's going to distract me right now. So let's have a little talk about what breakthroughs actually are. Okay. So I had a little look up in the dictionary, and it says a breakthrough is a sudden, dramatic and important discovery or development, an instant of achieving success in a particular sphere or activity. So I want to tell you a little bit about one of my breakthroughs. One of the most impactful breakthroughs for me was the day that I realized the power of decisions. So the fact that in any moment of my life, I can choose to think, feel, and act how I want. I can actually show up on purpose. So for me, that was an incredible breakthrough, and it has had a huge impact on my whole life and has changed the I can't even say that word. You guys know what I mean. It's changed the direction of my life. So with that in mind, I want to offer to you that you can use this concept of the power of decisions. So you can decide right now that you're going to get the most out of this event tonight. You can decide that you're going to just that little golden nugget, that pearl of wisdom from whatever coach that you're listening to tonight, that bit of that one little piece of information that you need to hear, you're going to hear it tonight. Right? Like you can just set yourself up for success like that and approach this event with that mindset. So I'll let you know how to participate. There's a chat box, there's a Q&A box, and while the coaches are doing their presentations, you can write in the chat box whether you have any questions for them. You can write in your biggest takeaway, your biggest breakthrough from hearing what they have to say. And if we have time, we'll share some of those. And any questions that you have, if we can't answer them today, someone from the Life Coach University will get back to you. All righty, I think we're ready to go. Anna, I'm going to bring you on in just a moment. I'm just going to have a little look, guys. I've got some notes here. I'm keeping myself on track. I'm just going to have a little look to see if there's anything that I forgot to tell you before we get started. All right, let's have a look for Anna. Anna, I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to move you to promote you to panelist. Let's bring you on, Anna. So while Anna's coming on, I'll just let you know that Anna is from Sweden. And Anna, remember to put your video and take your mute off. She's a mindset coach for women entrepreneurs and runs the business mindset program. So today she's sharing the concept of no rules to help you sort through what rules you are following, why, and which ones you want to keep. Anna, welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. And here it's 10 p.m. So it's extremely dark here. I'm in Sweden, as Meaghan said. So yeah, just bear with me. You at least don't need to be in this darkness. So good for you.
Well, the sun is just rising for me here. I might have to put the curtains down when the sun blasts through at me, but it's so amazing to be here with all the amazing coaches from all over the globe. This is an international event and there's people joining us from all over the globe. So Anna, I'm going to hand over to you now and I'll recap with you in a bit of time when you're done from your presentation. So remember, all of you guys participating at home, I want you to put in the chat box your biggest breakthroughs or your biggest aha moments when you're listening to Anna, and enjoy. Handing over to you.
Thank you so much. And I want to reconnect a little bit to what Meaghan said about the breakthroughs, like this moment that it just sort of clicks for you and you go like, oh, what? I've been believing this shit, excuse my word, but it's like, and I have that. I mean, I'm 42 now. And just like, I think it was just half a year ago or something in a coaching session with my coach, she told me like, but why do you think there are any rules? What's going on there? And I was like, of course there are rules. There are rules you need to follow. And she's like, no, but seriously. And this was such a breakthrough for me. So I wanted to talk to you about it today. And we divide everything in our lives up in either circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, or results. And I was so sure that rules was definitely a circumstance. It was something that was true and that I could for sure have an opinion about. I could have a thought about it, but it was just there. And when my coach told me like, no, but seriously, if you look at it, what is a rule actually? It's just someone else's thought that you have either consciously or unconsciously decided to adopt. And my mind was like, what? And I mean, if you look at it, it's just a thought. And even if you look at laws that we have, I mean, most of us, I hope, live in a democracy. So all the laws we have, it's actually just a collection of thoughts that we have agreed on. But why do we know that they're actually just thoughts? Because not everybody agrees with them. I mean, for me, one of the laws that I tend to like quite a bit is that you shouldn't murder people. Not everybody does agree on that. And why do we know that? Because people murder people. And some people murder people without remorse. And in some cultures, it's even something that you should do if someone acts out in a certain way. Then it's like the common thing you do. We, at least here in Sweden, we don't agree with that, most of us. But it's still murder, that murder is bad. It's just a thought. And I think this is so, so fascinating. So when we look at it in that way and we look back at how we've been living our lives, because I have been such a rule follower. I have been such a good girl. And I have been adopting all of these rules from my parents and my friends and the society around me. And now when I look at it, I can see how it has stopped me. And I can say that because in very many aspects, all of these rules, when I thought about them, I got scared because I was scared that I would break them. And it could be such a simple thing like, don't step on anybody's toes. I mean, seriously, what does that even mean? But I was so scared to break any of like the laws of etiquette or anything like that. So what that resulted in for me was that I was not even myself, because I was so scared to sort of step on anybody's toes. So I sort of locked myself in and I didn't show my true self. So this is one of the examples that you can see that if you follow rules, they can actually cripple you, and they can cripple you quite a bit. So my suggestion is that we actually, like Meaghan says, we make a conscious choice. What rules do we actually want to follow? And then you might think like, okay, but if I murder someone, I will go to jail. Yeah, okay. So maybe that's a good rule to follow then. Even if you might want to murder someone, you might choose not to do that because the consequences won't be to your liking, right? So what I mean by that is choose the rules that give you a result that you want. And how do we do that? If you're not super into the model that we teach, the coaches that use it, then I would say, when you think about this rule, how does it make you feel? You can use that as a guidance, because if you feel any sort of negative emotion when you think about this rule, I would say it's probably one that you should watch out for a little bit, because it's probably giving you a result that you don't like. So when it comes to these rules, I'm going to keep it short and simple. Remember that these rules are just thoughts of yourself that you yourself have or come up with yourself, or that someone else has come up with, maybe hundreds of years ago, and we have just gone along with it. So challenge yourself, think about these rules, and ask yourself if you actually want to follow them, if you benefit result-wise from following them, because you can choose. a lot of people make choices that we probably wouldn't, but it's their choice still. So my final note, thoughts are what you choose. You can choose your thoughts, so you can choose your rules. That's my final note.
That's amazing. I love that, Anna. You can choose your thoughts. Thoughts are rules, and you can choose your rules, right? I just think I said it. I just said it in a different order than you said it. But yes, I love that. And while you were talking, we had Diana said a good rule is to check your own morals and ethics. Yes, I love that. And I love how she said your own. We have agency over that. Anonymous attendee says, rules are thoughts. I never considered that before. Yes, 100%, 100%. So if anybody else has any questions or comments, remember to put it in the chat box and let us know your biggest takeaway from the speakers. And before we move on, Anna, I just want to let all the coaches who are participating this evening, remember to raise your hand, coaches, so I can find you and have your name as your name, so I know it's you. We've got people from all around the globe joining us to present, and there's lots of people here, so I have to scroll through everyone to find you. So make sure you raise your hand, coaches who are participating, and make sure you have your name. You can always go in and rename yourself if you need to. Anna, thank you so much for that. That was fantastic. I think that that was the other pearl of wisdom I wanted to add. How does the rule make you feel? I love that. So important, so important. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know it's late at night in Sweden. There was a lot in that, just small, in that 10 minutes. Okay, hang on. I just want to say one more thing. Anonymous attendee says, my biggest takeaway is that I can choose the rules. Rules are so subtle. Be nice. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. All right, Anna, I am going to bring on our next panelist for this evening, our next coach, Jutta Jellick, coming to us from Europe as well. I am going to change you, Anna, back to attendee. And Jutta, I am coming to you. Make sure you've got your video on and your audio on. Jutta, I am promoting you. All right, while Jutta is coming on, let me introduce her to you all. She is going to be talking to us tonight about what do breakthroughs actually look like. Jutta Jellick is a mentor, an educator, and systems thinker. It is her superpower to transform failure into learning, because she believes that there is no success or failure, but there are answers to questions or results from experiments. I love this so much. She will share her life's learning about why being slow at first is actually setting you for high speed. I cannot wait to hear all about this. Jutta, welcome.
Can you see me well and hear me well too?
We can see you and we can hear you. I'm so excited to hear what you have to say tonight. I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm really, really nervous. Like you said, you know, being slow is the new fast, but I'm really slow, and usually I need more time to kind of, you know, get the feeling of things and the feeling of people and the feeling of places. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish my sentences properly, but we'll see.
Yuta, you have the whole world behind you. This is a global event and we're all supporting you and we all can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Okay, so let me start and say hi to you. And I actually wanted to ask you, do you have a few minutes for listening to me? Because my experience currently is that the world has become a really loud place. There's almost no time for people listening to each other. But it's so important. And I was really excited when I got to know about the Life Coach University. And I'm so happy to be part of these birthday celebrations today, because in the Life Coach University, listening is what it's all about, right? We have to listen to each other, and there's so many people around the whole globe doing that for each other. The coaches, the PIF coaches, I find this fabulous, you know, the PIF coaches, the paid forward platform. So it's just a wonderful thing, and I'm very happy to be part of it. So my name is Jutta Jährlich, and I am an educator. I teach young engineers the art of collaboration and co-creation. And what we actually do is we work together on growing their ideas into products and services. I also work with companies and organizations in the innovation space, and collaboration is the key focus in it. And I'm very practical. And what I would like to talk to you about today is the word breakthrough. Maybe I'm there in a little bit different corner. I actually believe, or actually this is what happened to me in my life. There's no breakthroughs really. Like Meaghan was defining it, something sudden, you know, something overnight or something from one moment to the next. And I cannot confirm that this has ever happened to me. It's all slow for me. It's a learning process, so to say. And somehow that word also, you know, has this connotation of something that you have to break, something that maybe not correct or is wrong or it doesn't fit. And that's again something that I don't really believe in. I've always believed that we as humans, our bodies, our minds, we are actually perfect the way we are. We have been made in such a way that we are protecting ourselves, and that all of the systems we have are protecting us. But there's so many systems around us, education systems, cultures, and you know, our teachers, our parents, and somehow it always comes across that there's something wrong with me. But I don't believe that. I believe we have to get to know ourselves. We have to learn about ourselves. And there's actually not something wrong that we need to correct. And this belief, I actually dared to not speak about that for a very, very long time, because everybody else seemed to be in a different opinion. So I was like the only one thinking that. But one day I did actually meet someone who said exactly the same thing. And it was like a liberation for me. But it took me like 50 plus years to come to that conclusion, to find this other person and to feel liberated with my opinion. So I can tell you lots of stories of broken business partnerships and projects that didn't work out, and relationships and jobs that didn't work out, and health issues that were the result. And actually, I moved to different countries, lived in 14 cities across 7 countries and 3 continents on this quest to learn about myself. And the main thing that I actually realized was that, you know, any kind of learning always has to do as well with the learning about yourself. But learning about yourself is so much harder than learning about a country or a topic or, you know, anything new that you want to learn. And there is this paradox. The paradox is that if we want to learn about ourselves, we can actually not see our own powers. We don't see our strength, but other people can see that. And this paradox is actually called blind spots. So we need actually other people. We need to be on equal eyes level, on, get the feedback from peers so that we can recognize our own powers. And that's actually my motivation, my biggest drive to teach the art of collaboration and co-creation, because the peers we work with, if we have an honest and open conversation with each other, they are like mirrors for us, and they allow us to recognize our own powers. But what do you do if you don't have this feedback around you? So what I've developed is 3 questions that help me to tune in on what's going on for me right now. And this is actually connecting to the question that Anna had, how do you feel right now? How do you feel about a rule? And I use this question to apply that to a moment, to a situation. Is there something wrong for me right now in this situation? I call this moment that I need here to check in with my inner voice, with, did I miss something? Is there actually somebody screaming, hey, you forgot your purse, go back and get it? Or am I just pushing this away? Or is there maybe a message from the universe? So I need to take this time to actually stop and think. And here's my second question that comes after that. Is there something that I can do different? Can I do something to make myself feel better? What are my options? And this is like a door that's opening to maybe choose to do something in a different way. Maybe to react to some aggression, to anything that might happen to me in the world outside in a different way than my intuitive, explosive reaction might be. And then my third question, why do I feel strange about this? This is what happens to me very often. When I do something different to what I'm used to, then I feel like this really feels awkward. Maybe this is not the right thing to do after all. But the answer here has to do with the nature of our brains. Our brains are actually, perfect machines, and they're trying to make everything more effective for us so that we can live in a better way. Just imagine if we had to remember to breathe. That would be really, exhaustive if we had to remember that. So there's this urge from the brain to put us on automatic processes, on autopilot, so to say. And when we choose to do something differently, then we are kicking out this autopilot. And that doesn't feel good to the brain, because it's like, Jesus Christ, what's happening? I set up all these processes and now she's not following it. So then I can remember it's actually good if I feel strange, because then I'm learning, I'm doing something differently, and I'm speeding up my learning. And here I'm coming back to my first statement. Being slow is the new fast, and it's all about learning. And by being slow, being nice and patient with ourselves, taking the time to check in with these 3 questions, we can be faster than what we think. So I wish us all here a happy birthday. And I wish us that we can take those 3 questions, my questions. I hope that they also help you to tune in the next situation where you choose to stop and then choose your reaction. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh my gosh, there was so much in that, Jutta. Thank you so much. I want to read some of the comments. And first of all, I just want to say that somebody said, what a lovely lady. I feel lots of warmth to this presenter, so open and honest. And I want to let everybody know who is participating at home that all the coaches who are presenting tonight are contributors to the Life Coach University. And the Life Coach University is a pay it forward platform. All of the coaches here today run regular workshops or coaching events, and you can go to the lifecoachuniversity.com and sign up to one of these events. They are on at different times, all around 24/7, because there are coaches from all around the world who are contributing to a global movement of kindness and generosity, where we pay it forward to you by putting on these events for free and giving our time and generosity and kindness to you. And then we ask that you pay it forward in whatever way that looks to you, whether that looks like just smiling at someone when you walk down the street, or, you know, shouting someone a coffee, telling somebody about the Life Coach University and that they can get coaching for free. Right? Because we're on a mission to coach millions more and bring coaching to people all around the world. And we're paying this forward to you, and we would love it and encourage you to keep that ripple effect going. Keep that ripple of generosity and kindness going out all over the globe. All right, Yuta, I want to share some of the take-throughs and breakthroughs, takeaways rather, and breakthroughs. I've written some down here, but I want to share what people have said in the comments. So first of all, the 3 questions, I'm going to say them again because they were so amazing. 1, how do I feel? 2, is there something that I can do differently? What are my options? I love that so much because it tells our brain, it gives our brain a new direction to look for instead of focusing on the problem. And why do I feel strange about this? Such powerful questions. And I love that you said slow is the new fast. When we slow our brain down, we speed ourselves up for learning and growth. So fantastic. Okay. Bruna says, amazing talk. Thank you, Yuta. My aha moment was about the blind spot when learning about ourselves. We don't see our powers. Yes, so amazing. What an amazing breakthrough. What an amazing aha moment. All right, I am now going to bring Kelly Turner on from the UK. Yuta, I am going to say thank you and goodbye. I'm going to change you back to an attendee. Thank you so much for being here this evening. All right, let's change your role. And Kelly, I'm bringing you on. Kelly Turner from all the way from the UK. We're in the Europe section of the evening tonight. We've had Sweden, we've had Vienna, now we're going to the UK. Kelly, I am promoting you to a panelist. Make sure you've got your video and audio turned on. So while Kelly's coming on, I want to let you know that she's going to be talking to us about authenticity is your strength. So Kelly is a certified coach and a member of the Association of Coaching. She works with individuals to move beyond limitations and access their own wisdom to enhance their lives. Oh, so good. With self-trust, authenticity, and purpose. Kelly's own journey has taught her the relationship you have with yourself is the foundation for everything else to grow from. Oh my gosh, Kelly, I love that so much. Yes, yes, on every level. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here on Life Coach University's first birthday. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of, authenticity is something that is really a passion of mine. And just to kind of put this into context. So there was a time in my life that on the outside, everything looked absolutely fine. I, got to university twice. I was living in different cities. I was, climbing the career ladder, and everything looked absolutely grand on the outside, and I had a lot of recognition for my work. My life was very, very busy. I was always doing things on weekends. And in all honesty, it was very much, I was getting my happy fix on the weekend, pushing through the week, happy fix on the weekend, pushing through the week. And it got to a point where I couldn't keep doing that because that happy fix was no longer working for me. And I felt stuck. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed. I had anxiety. I was dreading the next day and the Monday. And it came to a head where I had to make change. Change had to happen. And what happened was I had to leave my career and take a pause. And when I looked back, everything I was doing, I was people pleasing. All my answers were coming from outside of myself. I didn't have boundaries. I always said yes. I was not good at saying no. And I literally just kept, it was like a hamster on a wheel, just kept going and kept going. So when I took this pause out, at the time when I felt I hit that wall and I felt really stuck, I thought this was the worst time ever. But when I look back now, it was a gift that needed to happen to me because I needed to wake up, because I wasn't living my truth. I was living what I thought I needed to be and what other people wanted, what I thought other people wanted me to be. And that took me on a journey, and a journey that I want to share with you. So it was 3 things I'm going to name tonight that kind of helped me to find my truth again and start creating my life from within. And the first one of those was self-connection. And I kind of want to get you to think about, when you're with somebody, it might be someone you just love hanging out with, or it might be somebody that you've met and you just really enjoyed their company. If we were to kind of peel that back, often what we'd find in there is that they accepted you for who you are. They felt you, they heard you, they seen you, and there was compassion and there was care. There was no judgment. And how often do we give that to ourselves? I didn't give that to myself before. I didn't give it to myself. So I had to learn this. And one of the ways I did it, I sat with myself every day. I got pen and paper and I started to get out of this heavy head of mine into my body where all our feelings and our emotions are stored. I was like, how am I feeling? What's this feeling trying to tell me? What is it? Is this true? Are the stories attached to this feeling? Is it true? And started to really understand myself. And even when I was happy and excited and I loved doing something, I was like, what is it I loved about that? What is it I'm excited about today? Why am I excited? I really had to get to know myself, understand myself. And the other thing that I did was meditation. And now that was really hard to start with. I found that really tricky at the beginning. But what it gave me with consistency and commitment, it got me to observe myself. All these thoughts, all these beliefs that were kind of fueling my emotions, affecting how I acted, it was all old patterns, they're old stories. And when you meditate, you can become an observer of yourself. I used guided meditation to start me off. And I started to understand, this is my higher perspective. Because when we observe ourselves, we come from a higher intelligence. So then we can make more conscious choices. We can choose that feels right to us, that aligns to us, not always habits on repeat. So that was number 1. Number 2, that was my core values. Now I had been kind of living literally just what other people wanted me to do, saying all those yeses and looking outside, always looking outside for the answers. I was never living the questions. And I had to do a lot of reflection and really discover what's my blueprint? What is my values that I want to live from? What makes my life meaningful? What makes me feel alive? What is really important to me? Because when we're growing up, we can inherit people's values, from religion, from culture, to family, to education, to society. And now I had to push that all away and just find out what mine were. And when I did that, everything began to change, because I was no longer validating my worth outside myself. It all came from within, and it kept me accountable. Because if things didn't feel right, I go, what value aren't I honoring? What value have I let go? What do I need to tweak? So everything starts to come from within and then goes out. And now there's loads of values. There's hundreds and hundreds of values. But what I want to say, to put it into perspective, if someone said to me, hey, someone rang me up, know that dream life you want, Kelly? It's all ready. You can hop over and it's all ready for you. But if they said to me, you can't take your authenticity, you can't take your truth, you can't take your freedom, you can't take impact, you can't impact anyone's lives, I wouldn't want to go, because it might look like a paradise island, but I'd be leaving parts of myself behind. So those are how we can kind of test what is really meaningful to me. How do I need to design my goals and my habits and my decisions through my core values, and everything begins to change. And so I'll leave that as a question for you to kind of sit with. And number 3 is something called shadow. But shadow is a big, big concept. So I'm going to stick with golden shadow, and I want to invite you all to do something. So I want you to think of someone that you admire. And it can be someone who's not with us anymore. They may have passed, or it might be somebody you don't know when you look up to them on a podcast host or social media or a celebrity, whoever that may be. And I want to ask you, when you bring this person into your awareness, what is it about them that you admire? Is it their sensuality? Is it their vulnerability? Is it how they express their truth? Is it the authenticity? Is it how their family values and how they honor their family? Is it their playfulness? Is it their courage? Is it their strength? Because why I'm asking you this, to name that one thing or 2 things, whatever you see, whatever makes you admire them, because they are a mirror and they are just shining what is inside of you. But what can happen, we can push those strengths in the background, because somewhere in our lives, we may have needed to be small and disown that part. We needed to be accepted. We need to make our parents proud. We needed to get that recognition of a teacher or a boss, and we've kind of disowned part of ourselves. And I want to kind of invite you to look, whatever you see in them, if you were to honor that and recognize that as your strength now, what becomes possible for you? And as I wrap up my segment and leave you with these questions, is I want to remind you, no one will ever, ever be you. And no one will ever be everyone else who you're friends with. We're all unique, we're all authentic, and we're here to create from our authenticity. And your authenticity is your truth, and your truth is your power. Thank you for listening, and much love. Enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.
Oh, Kelly, so amazing. Each of you come on and I just think, what wisdom are you going to share? And every one of you, it just blows me away. But one of the common themes that I'm seeing is this: we've got to ask ourselves great questions, right? Like, we've got to get our brain looking for the right answers, in the sense that we've got to ask the right questions to get the right answers. So if we're looking at what's not working, that's what we're finding. But we've had some amazing questions from all the coaches already this evening to redirect ourselves in the direction that we want to go. And I love that, Kelly, that you said, looking at someone else that we admire and what is it about them that we love and that we can connect to that. I want to just have a quick look at the comments. Tonya, I'm coming to you next, Tonya. So I'm just letting you know to be ready. In a moment, I'm going to be bringing you on. But first, let's have a look at the comments, Kelly. Okay, so Someone said, wow, well explained with the Paradise Island. I agree. So such a great way to think about what is it that's really important to us. Oh, made me cry, Kelly, when thinking about who I admire. Oh, so beautiful, so beautiful. All right, we are going to keep this moving. Kelly, thank you so much for your wisdom today, for sharing it. I don't know whether to say this evening, this morning, today. Thank you so much. I'm going to move you to attendee now. And Tonya, I am bringing you on next. Tonya, make sure you've got your video on and your audio on. Let's promote you to panelist. Okay, so Tonya is coming to us from the USA, and she is going to be demystifying the mind drama that stems from relationships. Tonya is a certified life coach who loves coaching on a variety of topics, from relationships to goal setting. Tonya is going to be discussing the importance of gaining clarity and being proactive in this area. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say, Tonya. Welcome.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you,
Awesome.
and looking fabulous. So
Thanks.
excited to hear what you have to present today.
Yes, and I'm so excited to present today to everyone. Again, Tonya Hunt, and I am going to be talking to you about relationships because we all want great relationships, but the truth is they don't always work out the way we want them to. So what I want to share with you today is a client story, a client who came to me for coaching on relationships. And I also want to give you two very important concepts about relationships. Okay, so here's the story. My client, who works for a nonprofit organization that provides betterment programs to the community that she services. And basically what she does is she goes out into the world and she finds programs that are suitable for her community, is to make their lives better, to put their lives on the right track, something she's very passionate about. And so she goes out and she finds these programs, she brings them back into her organization, and she has a management staff there that decides whether or not to implement these programs. So there was one program that my client was very, very excited about, and she thought this program would just change the world. And she really wanted to implement it. But when she presented it to management, they said no. They declined this program. They rejected it. So this put my client in just a tailspin. She just had many, many thoughts, and they were all negative thoughts towards where she was and what was happening at this time to her. And one of her thoughts was her management didn't support her. You know, was she in the right place? She was being held back from doing what she truly wanted to do, you know, what she was truly born to do. So this was just such a tailspin. And she stewed in this place of negativity for some time. And when she finally came to me for coaching and we were able to talk about it, the first question is, you know, how did this all start? And so looking back, she had this program that she thought would just save the world, but it wasn't going to happen. Okay, so that's the event, that's what happened. But then she had a thought about it. And her thought was her management did not support her. Okay, and so from that place, she was just unfulfilled. She felt unfulfilled at work in her career. And through that unfulfillment, she started to act that out. And basically what was happening to her at the time was she was distancing herself. She wasn't showing up as she had originally planned. She was more short and curt. with management, with staff, and she just started to withdraw. She wasn't presenting her ideas, expressing herself in team meetings. And so as a result, my client was not able to fulfill the lives of others because she wasn't fulfilled in her own life. She wasn't enriched. She didn't feel the enrichment in this aspect of her career. So now it took some time. This happened over time, but eventually my client, she got to a point where she was able to open up and actually see that she wasn't moving forward. She was stuck. She had this thought and she was just clinging to it. So eventually the question came to be, how do you want to show? What result do you want to produce? And as she was able to think about that and able to see that there were other possibilities here in this organization with other programs, her result was the same as it always had been, but she had lost sight of it. So basically that was that she did want to enrich the lives of those in the community that she serviced. That's why she was there. That was the original intent. And so once she got to the point where she wanted to do that, the next step up was, well, exactly how do you do that? What actions do you need to take? What's the next thing you need to do? Now, when this came up, she became very animated because she had all types of strategies. There are all types of ways because this was what she was very experienced and educated with. So she had all of this within her. And she had also the commitment at this point to do it, as she was talking about it, that she had been missing out, but now she was getting back on the right track. Because look at that original thought that my client was having. The original thought was, my management doesn't support me. But she went to a different place. She was able to get to a different place and find that I support the community that I service, and I want it to do well no matter what the consequences. So just look at that transition and look at that parallel. And that kind of gives you an idea about what happens in a coaching session. What happens when we're open and when we're honest and we're being true to ourselves with where we are and where we want to be. So that's my client's story. And what's unusual about this story? Absolutely nothing. This is so typical. When we are in an adverse situation, our brain wants to protect us. And our brain will distance us from things that seem to hurt or harm us. But we don't want our brains to manage us. We want to manage our brains. And that's the power of coaching. That's the power of just going deep and just really getting to a place where we need to move forward, where we need to be unstuck. Now, I told you I was going to share with you two very important relationship concepts. When you think about relationships, the relationship that you have with another person is simply your thought about that other person. Now, you can see that clearly in the story I just provided. The relationship that you have with another person is just going to be your thought about that person. When my client was thinking negatively about her management, it was also resulting in the way she showed up. Now, the second concept, and it's so important, is this: the relationship that you have with yourself. And yes, you do have a relationship with yourself. The relationship that you have with yourself will set the tone for the relationship that you'll have with others. Now that's so important. I'm going to say it again because I want to make sure you don't miss it. The relationship that you have with yourself will set the tone for the relationship that you have with others. And that just means being open, honest, and true, even when it causes some discomfort in your life. You know, just to being able to open up and just to really say, you know, this is where I am, but this is where I want to be. And just understanding what you do have control over. You know, we have control over really ourselves, not management, not other people, but what can we do? So thank you so much for letting me share this with you today, because it's all about mind management, and with that, relationships and so many other things fall into place when we can really look and say, and honestly see that we're not exactly where we want to be and that we do need to move forward. Thank you again, Tonya Hunt.
Tonya. Whoa, some serious golden nuggets in there. Those of you participating at home, please write your comments in the chat box. I would love to hear your breakthroughs. The biggest thing that I picked up from what you were saying, Tonya, was that your relationship with yourself will set the tone for your relationship with others. Whoa, marinate on that for a little while, everyone. That little piece alone, that's life-changing. If that you really let that sink in, that the other people in your life don't have to do anything. You just have to change the relationship with yourself. And that was amazing what you were saying about how, where I wrote it down, our relationship with others is our thoughts about the other people. And you really showed us that when you gave us the example from your client. So Tonya, I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat box and I'll let Alana know that she's coming on next. So Alana, get yourself ready. So what do we have? Yes. So Jody says the relationship with myself sets the tone to relationships with others. Wow. Yes. A breakthrough of mine was the realization that if I am experiencing something with someone else, I can ask myself, what is going on within me that's causing me to feel this way? Nalisha, yes, amazing. The relationship with ourselves will set the tone. Yes, everybody's getting that. It's sinking in. Yes. And we have 100% power and control over the relationship we have with ourselves. We can't change other people. And believe me, all of the coaches here tonight, if we knew how to do that, we would totally be telling you. Yes. Thank you, Tonya. Yes, thank you, Tonya. That was amazing. I'm going to put you back to an attendee. And Alana, I am bringing you on. Okay, let's do this. And while Alana gets herself sorted, I'm going to let you know that Alana Schramm is from Vancouver in Canada. So this is very international. Hang on, I don't think I've brought her on. Let me just, here we go. Alana is a certified life coach and inner voice facilitator. She blends mindset and inner voice work to help her clients create more joy. Today, she is sharing how fear is one of your biggest allies in creating more joy and how to move through the 4 stages of fear to achieve your goals. Okay, hang on a minute.
So excited to be sharing my topic with you guys, which is my biggest breakthrough. And my biggest breakthrough is for sure my relationship with fear, which started off as this like mortal enemy, hated enemy, to now a trusted ally in creating joy. And I want to talk about this topic because fear is something that I used to struggle so much with. Like, I literally had to ask my mom to speak to store clerks on my behalf because I was too afraid to ask them for my size. Like, even that, right? And this was like kind of the way that I lived most of my life. I really like held myself back because I was afraid to experience things like asking people out on a date, or volunteering for work things, or I don't know, going to restaurants by myself. Basically, so many things that I wanted to do, I didn't know how to deal with the fear, and so I just didn't do them. And so what that created for me was a life where, you know, everything was basically fine, but it was just kind of like just fine. And I knew that there was so much potential that I had that I wasn't fulfilling, and there were so many things that I wanted to experience that I wasn't letting myself experience. And I didn't love that, but I also didn't love how fear felt. And so every time life handed me opportunities to grow, I ran away from them, basically hid from the fear. And yeah, it kind of sucked. So that's why I want to share this breakthrough with you, which is my relationship with fear, what fear is, basically what the 4 stages of fear are. And this is so important because knowing what the stages of fear are kind of allows us to navigate through them and get to the other side. So, okay, the first thing is, what is fear? So fear is an emotion created by the brain to protect us from real or perceived danger. So if we go back to prehistoric times, one of the biggest fears that we still have today, is the fear of the unknown, right? So if we imagine in prehistoric times, this bush full of berries that the people of our community have tried and eaten, and they didn't die because they weren't poisonous, and they also ate from the bush, so they checked around the bush, there were no tigers. It was really helpful to know that, right? For survival, what we know can keep us safe. And then this bush over here, let's say no one has tasted the berries, so no one knows if they're poisonous or not. No one knows if there's tigers lurking around in the back. That was really dangerous to go and try those berries, right? So we've kind of evolved to fear the unknown, because literally the unknown could be our literal death. And so although there are no more of those sorts of dangers anymore, I'm not sure where you live, but if you have the Wi-Fi to be watching this, probably don't have those dangers. So we don't have those dangers anymore, but we still have that same brain that's wired to fear the unknown. So that's the thing, right? Is whenever we're going to be doing something new, our brains are just wired to produce fear, and we're just going to be feeling fear. That's just normal part of the process. That's a normal part of being a human. So how do we navigate the fear? What are the 4 stages? So I made this amazing acronym, if I do say so myself, which is FEAR, F-E-A-R, each letter signifying 1 stage. So the first stage, F, is for freaking out. So let's say we're thinking about the thing we want to do, let's say to a presentation for work. So we're thinking about the thing, and then we freak out, right? Like the fear comes up, we're like, oh my gosh, so scary. So, and we all have our different coping mechanisms. For me, for sure, Netflix, scrolling social media, basically everything except doing the thing, right? So kind of procrastinating a little bit, and then beating myself up for not doing the thing, right? Because we're like freaking out, we are not doing the thing. So then we're kind of judging ourselves. And so that's what the stage is like the stage where the fear is paralyzing, and maybe there's even some judgment about that. And it's so important to know that this is an actual stage, because a lot of times we sort of judge ourselves for not even starting, because we think that the fact that we haven't taken any action means that we haven't started. But the fact that we are feeling fear means that we've started, right? Like if you think about it, why would you need to create fear if you weren't sort of planning on doing something? The mere presence of the fear suggests that you're considering doing this thing, that your brain is like opening up to the possibility of doing this thing, that you're doing this thing in your mind. And so then the primitive brain is like, oh no, she's going to do the thing, quick, send out the fear and like reel her back because she might die if she starts doing this thing. So the fact that you feel fear is this amazing indication that you're on the right track, that you want to do this thing, that you're going to be doing this thing. So that's stage 1, freaking out. Stage 2, E, for expecting the fear. So in stage 1, we're kind of waiting for the fear to go away before we take action. In stage 2, we've kind of like expect now that the fear is just going to be there. Maybe we've watched Netflix and the fear is still there after watching. So we're kind of recognizing the fear is just going to be there. And so because we're expecting the fear, we kind of start understanding that, okay, there's no way through except through. There's no way through the fear except experiencing the fear. And so it's almost like this, the fear becomes this like rickety bridge between where I am and where I want to go. Like if you've ever been on a suspension bridge, like they're kind of terrifying. There's just like some straggly old bridge like on top of an abyss. And your brain knows that it's safe, but in your body, like as you're experiencing walking through it, it's actually terrifying, right? And that's sort of like what the stage is about. It's like the only way to do the thing that I want to do is to do it while feeling the fear. So that's E, for expecting the fear. The third stage, A, is for aliveness. And aliveness in 2 ways. The first way is that you're literally physically alive, like you have done the thing and you are still alive, which sounds kind of funny, but remember, the brain is persuaded that this thing that you didn't know anything about was going to kill you. And so when you do it and you keep being alive, the brain starts to understand, oh, okay, maybe this thing is actually safe. And so it starts putting that thing into the safe berry bush category, right? So we have that aliveness from doing the thing. And then we also have the aliveness of actually completing this thing that was so scary. Like there's kind of an exhilaration and like a fun and a joy of doing a scary thing, right? Like if you think about a roller coaster, like how much fear and on the other side fun is there in that? Comparing that to like I don't know, the like little teacups that you like you spin, probably totally different intensity of fun and exhilaration from the teacups, yeah. So that is A, for aliveness. Then the last stage is releasing and repeating. So in this stage, we've maybe done the thing enough times for the brain to understand that it's not actually going to kill us. So maybe sometimes one time is enough, sometimes a few times is enough. But basically we've done it, we've created enough evidence that this thing is not going to kill us. And so then the brain fully puts that thing in the safe bush category, and it can start releasing the fear. Doesn't need to produce fear anymore because fear was only there to prevent you from doing this unknown thing. Now this thing has become known. There's no longer any need for the fear. It can release it. And so from that place, now we've like grown our identity to incorporate this thing. And then there's like this expansion of ourselves, this joy that's created from being more of who we are, including more things that bring us joy. So the definition of joy is becoming more of who you are. And so when you start allowing things to come to you that you were so afraid of, it's like you can also expand your capacity to have joy and include things that you were previously preventing. So then because we've done this cycle a few times, we might change the thing, right? Like we might not be fearing doing presentations anymore, but anytime there's a new thing, fear is going to be created again, right? Like maybe, I don't know, presenting in front of 1,000 people, maybe the brain is like, oh no, that thing is going to kill us though. And so because we've done the cycle, our brains start seeing that even the cycle itself doesn't need to be something to be feared. Like fear itself doesn't need to be something to be feared. And so then we can start moving through the stages more and more quickly and growing more and more quickly, and then creating more and more joy because we're growing and becoming more and more of who we are. So from that place, we can kind of see that fear is this amazing tool for growth and therefore joy, but it's an amazing tool for growth because without the fear, we literally wouldn't grow, right? Like if there was no fear, there would be no growth. So it's not like in spite of fear we grow, it's like because of fear we grow. So fear is this like amazing thing that allows us to become more of who we are. And on top of that, it also is this nudge from our inner knowing about what are the things that might bring us joy that we might want to do. So I'm thinking randomly of an example, like let's say dressing up in a clown outfit, going to the mall. Like that's, I guess, technically kind of scary, but it doesn't scare me at all because that's just not something that I want to do, right? So using fear as like, oh, I'm a little bit afraid of this thing. Maybe that's something that I actually want to do. It's just such a powerful way of using fear as like data, right? Like data from my inner knowing about what are things that could create more joy for me and light me up. So what I want to leave you with is, what if fear wasn't an enemy, but what if fear was an amazing ally in your growth? Not only because it protects you from actual danger, like so amazing to have fear to run away if there's an actual tiger chasing you, but also fear is this amazing ally that shows you, hey, these are the places you might want to grow in. So in that way, if we can change the relationship we have with fear, we can also change the relationships that we have with ourselves. We can learn to love ourselves and learn to embrace the different parts of ourselves that we were fearing before and grow more and more. So I hope that this presentation was helpful to you. If it was, I am going to be doing a webinar on the Life Coach University's website on October 15th at the same time as the Breakthrough Festival time, but it will be on October 15th. And I will be talking more about this topic, going more in depth into the stages and sort of strategies to navigate through the stages. And I would also love it if you followed me on Instagram, if that sounds aligning to you. It's at Alana Moves, so ALANAMOVES. And I just wish you the most amazing day. I hope you embrace your fear, and I will see you around. Bye.
So while Heather's coming on, I'll let you know that she is joining us from the USA in Arizona. Heather Flake is a certified life coach and stay-at-home mom. She works with women from her church who feel disenchanted, alone, and guilty in their marriages to feeling empowered, fulfilled, and in control. So today she is sharing how you can handpick what you want to think, believe, and feel on purpose while using the metaphor, your brain is a buffet. Heather, welcome.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. It's been so amazing. All of these coaches are just brilliant. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. We can
Okay.
see you. We're so excited to hear what you have to say.
Okay, amazing. Well, I just want to say I've loved everything that has been shared so much, just like so much goodness in such a small little time. Like this is just so good. Okay, so one of my biggest breakthroughs, like before I found life coaching, I just thought that life happened to you. And like everyone was handed a deck of cards, and some of your cards just really sucked, and that just sucked for you. But hopefully you'd get a better card soon. I just believe that life kind of happened to you. And then when I found life coaching, I was like, what? Hold up. Like I can just decide what I want to think about myself and my life and the people in my life. Like it was just mind blowing to me. All right. So that's what I want to share with you today. I want to use a metaphor that just came to me one time when I was coaching one of my clients, and I was like, this is good. Like I'm a very visual person. So it helped me to kind of connect some dots. So I want all of you to go back into your mind before the times of the coronavirus, before COVID swept the globe, and you could go into a buffet. Sorry, I'm eating a hair. There we go. Okay. You could go into a buffet and you walk in and there's just tons of food, right? Like there's rolls and there's meat and there's veggies, just like all the things. So you grab your plate and you start going down the line and you see food you like and you're like, oh yes, I love salad. Oh yes, hot bread for days. And you put the things you like on your plate and then you go and you sit down and you eat the food. Now, when you're going through line, if you see something that you don't like, for example, mushrooms, like I don't like mushrooms. So if I see a dish that has a lot of mushrooms, I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. I'm not going to eat it, right? Or seafood, like crab legs or something. That's just not really my jam. I'm not going to eat it. Okay. So I go through the buffet, I get the things that I want, sit down, eat it. It's great, right? I want you to think about your brain in this exact same way. It is a buffet, y'all. Did you know? Okay, the average human on any given day has 60,000 thoughts swirling around in that beautiful head of yours. Okay, so just think of it as like all the foods. And a lot of the times we find that we're eating mushrooms and we're eating crab legs, even though we don't like them. Why would you do that to yourself? Right? Like at a buffet, you would not put the 6 stuff you don't like on your plate and eat it. So why are you doing that in your brain? When your brain offers you thoughts of like, hey, you know what? You're not good enough. You're really behind. You're very fat. You're a bad mom. Like whatever it is, those negative thoughts, you have a choice on whether or not you're going to think that. You're going to keep, like, you're going to fuel that thought. You're just like, oh yeah, I hate mushrooms, but I'm just going to keep putting them in my mouth and eating them. No, you would not do that. So this is like so liberating to recognize that it's the exact same with thoughts, you guys. Just because a thought comes to your mind does not mean you have to think it. And it does not mean that you have to take it on and believe it. Right? So that's the theme. If you remember anything, right? It's just like, just because it's offered doesn't mean you have to take it. The buffet has all kinds of things, but you have the skill to just pick out the things you like, or at least to pick out the things that you're intrigued by and you want to try. Same thing with your brain. Okay, so I want to give you like a practical example. Last year, I was pregnant with my baby boy that is almost a year now somehow. Look at all these amazing birthdays we're celebrating. Okay, and I was very large, okay? My son was very big. I'm a big person. I'm 5'10". When he was born, he was like 9 pounds, 8 ounces. He was the whopper of a man. And while I was carrying him, I would look in the mirror and I would just be flooded with these negative thoughts. I would think I'm doing pregnancy wrong. I'm so massive and gross. I'm never going to bounce back from this. And the problem with that for me is it was just affecting how I was showing up as a mom to my 3-year-old. It was showing up in my relationship with my husband. I was grumpy. I just wanted to lay on the couch and do nothing. And so I recognized like, okay, I've got to make some changes here. And I got some coaching on it. And the coach was like, Heather, listen, even though when you look in the mirror and you physically have a large belly, right? Or even when you physically stand on the scale and you see a number that for you seems so scary, even though those things are real and they're true, you get to think whatever you want to about it. And I was like, what? For real? I didn't know. So even though my circumstances didn't change, my belly was still very big and kept getting bigger. The number on the scale kept going up, which I recognize as a good thing, right? I know I was having a baby and that was good. But so I just had to decide when I looked in the mirror, the negative thoughts would still come. The mushrooms, the crab legs would come at me. But instead of putting them on my plate and eating them, I was just like, oh, no, thank you. I don't like mushrooms. I don't eat those anymore. Next. And I just picked something else that was like, oh my gosh, thank you, body, for housing a human that you're just going to push out. And then I'm just going to be obsessed with him and love him so much. Wow, thank you. Oh, and P.S., thanks for letting me be able to walk and clean and dance and laugh all while I carry a human in my body. Like it just helped me so much to have this mind shift to recognize I get to decide. So again, I want you to think about a buffet. There is not a man at the buffet with a large spoon coming around and just slinging stuff down on your plate. That does not happen, right? Like you go to the buffet line, you pick up a spoon and you're like, oh yes, I'll try this thing. And you put it on. Same with your brain. Just because it's offered doesn't mean you have to take it. I had a client too that also experienced this breakthrough, and it was so like, I was so jazzed because I was like, right. But she said, listen, I've always known that my brain was powerful, but I never knew that I could intentionally choose how I wanted to think and then feel about the circumstances of my life until now. And so that's what I want to leave you guys with. And I think that's been such a powerful message and theme of this festival, is that all you have are choices, and that you get to decide what you want to think and what you want to believe about yourself. Even if there's something that is true, you still get to think whatever you want to about it. Your brain's a buffet. Just because it's offered doesn't mean you have to take it, friends. So when those thoughts come up, just recognize you get to choose. And the biggest thing that I could offer you right now is just recognize your awareness. Even before changing what you're thinking, just recognize what foods are on the table in your buffet. And then you'll have more traction being able to choose what you're actually going to think and believe on purpose. You've got this. Go enjoy the buffet. Love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Oh, Heather, amazing. I love that analogy. Your brain is a buffet and we have choice. We don't have to choose those negative thoughts. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to read you some comments from the chat box. Anonymous attendee says she's laughing. She or him is laughing. The mushroom and crab legs came to me. I love you, Heather. I didn't know life coaching could be this much fun. Yes, 100%. Of course,
It is
life
this
coaching is fun.
Yes. Yes, that's why we do it.
I love that you said when negative thoughts showed up, I didn't choose them, but they're still there, like the crab legs and mushrooms. We have choice. We can let those negative thoughts be there, but we don't have to choose them. We can choose the ones that we want. That is gold. Oh my gosh. Amazing. All right. I'm going to give people a few more moments to write any more comments in. Somebody says, congratulations on your newborn. Great model for him. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So Heather, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. Heather, as well as all the other coaches, is one of the amazing contributors to the Life Coach University, lifecoachuniversity.com. Everybody, you need to go there immediately, sign up for all the workshops that are available. There will for sure be one that is in the right time zone for you, because we have coaches from all around the world. So that's why sometimes some of the events that you log on, you'll look at and think, why is this on at 2 a.m. in the morning? That's weird. That's because it's from one of the coaches who's not in your country, but that's fine. You can go to any of the events, and often the coaches offer replays. So Heather, I am going to thank you again. I'm going to move you to attendee. I'm going to let everybody know that a lot of people contributed to this event who aren't here. So we have Chris Wells from the USA, who made an amazing video for us that was released as a teaser. Lots of us sent his video out. He is one of the regular contributors. We had Amanda McGregor in the lineup for this evening, but unfortunately, to unforeseen events, she was not able to join us. We are spewing that she couldn't be here, but we want to let you know about Amanda because she puts on events at the Life Coach University. And even though she wasn't with us here this evening, you can always catch Amanda and her workshops through the Life Coach University. We also had help from the British film editors in the UK. Can you believe that? That is because they are paying it forward. They contribute as well to the Life Coach University. They actually started this whole movement because they reached out to one of the contributors to the Life Coach University and approached her to help them. And then they decided to pay it forward to this coach by helping her out. And then this is how the Life Coach University came about, with coaches contributing their time and generosity and kindness to bring coaching to the whole world. Also, we have Nata PR from Canada contributing. They have been promoting this event. So this is a global event from people all around the world collaborating and working together to bring coaching to millions more. Thank you to everybody who has participated today and joined in. Thank you to all the coaches. Thank you to Anna, to Yuta, to Callie, to Alana, to Tonya, to Heather, to Amanda, to Chris, to Deanne, to Nata PR, to the British Film people doing all their goodness and everything that they have helped us with, for you participating today. Thank you so much for joining in. You need to go immediately to the lifecoachuniversity.com and sign up for a workshop with one of our wonderful coaches who presented tonight, and all the coaches who aren't here tonight. There are so many more coaches who didn't participate in this evening that are there and on the Life Coach University website and have workshops and events for you that you can sign up to today. Thank you, everybody. Wherever you are in the world, whatever day it is for you, whatever time of day, good morning, good day, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody who contributed, and thank you to everybody who joined us this evening. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Goodbye, everyone. Happy birthday, Life Coach University. Thank you to all the Pay It Forward coaches. We are contributing to a worldwide movement of millions more being coached. Generosity and kindness rippling out. Pay it forward. If you are a participant, if you're an attendee this evening, pay this kindness forward in however that looks to you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. We love you. Happy birthday, Life Coach University.